a.m. Saturday morning, and I'm about to bring my partner on, Annette Holloman. All right, Annette, I think I see you. So let's see if this works. Bam! What's up, lady?
Hey, Anderson, what's up?
You funny. Why are you calling me Anderson? What's up with that?
Ace. Depends on how I feel, what I call you.
Oh God. Well, guess what? Congratulations to both of us because this is the first time I've done this with a guest and it worked out. So we are live, lady, live on Facebook,
Mm,
Haps, YouTube, and I think you're live on Haps
I
and
don't think I'm
your
live
Facebook.
on anything.
Oh, you definitely live.
Okay,
You
I'm
are.
not live on my Facebook because I made sure it was off.
Oh, you turned it off. Okay, well, we'll have to
I
upload
turned it
that later, but you live on Facebook on my end. So
off.
I just
Oh,
decided to
okay.
just run with it. So what's up? What's going on with
Alrighty.
you?
Um, it's what,
I know,
12:28 in the morning?
I know. You know I'm good for weird things like this. So
Yeah, that's the alien in you, but it's okay. We all got some in us.
it's funny. I'm at the office here at 62. I'm the only one in the building. Sometimes it feels a little creepy, but I'm good. I'm here. I don't think anybody's gonna bother me. I can't see anything out the
Mm.
window anyway, so
Because it's dark.
that's what's up. So you
But
okay? So you saw the Aretha Franklin movie. What
I
you get out
did.
of it?
Well, if anybody sees it and they're a big crybaby like me, they need to take a case of tissue.
Okay, what parts did you cry on?
Just about the whole thing. More so, you know, hearing her life story and the things that she went through, you know, it made me think about my own life and things that I have been through, and in the type of work I do, I'm always working on myself and looking at things through um, holistic perspective. So dealing with the whole person, the mind, body, spirit, and emotions. And what touched me with the movie was I remember at one point, um, I think it was her second husband. I think it was the second husband. He said, about her dealing with her demons. And, you know, I'm sitting there in the movie and, I always talk about, deal with your family. And when I say family, that means all of me inside of me, my inner child, all the different voices that are part of who I am. And during that, what I heard was, have you dealt with all your demons? And I went, and because it was like, okay, I'm sure the word demons for some people would mean different than what it would mean for me. So, what it meant for me is, have I dealt with the inner child, um, the pains from the past, you know, um, and if I have not, what am I going to do about it? Or if I'm going to do anything about it. So it was really watching the movie, for me, it was really, with the lion portal from the new moon, There's such a shifting going on as far as who I am changing every single day, that this was listening to that was just another piece of me saying, you know, continue to work on myself, continue to love myself, continue to do my self care work. And in doing it, not beating up on myself, but loving myself through all of these new processes that I'm going through. Because, I mean, we're evolving, we're frequency changing every single day, every minute right now. So, yeah, I cried a lot through that movie, but a good cry, but it was really interesting for me. Um, and I think a lot had to do with, I just had a recent death in my family, and I've had a lot of deaths around me in the last couple of months, and I've had a lot of sickness in family around me. So it just kind of made everything compound for me. So,
What was interesting to me, like we know Aretha Franklin through her music and her hits and
hmm
her impact. I did not know about her breakdown,
right,
and it just brought out the human element of that part. And I thought they did a good job illustrating that, because as big of a superstar that she is, she still had her own, like you said, demons to work through.
right.
And um, so that just blew me away. But I love how she came out of some of that, especially with her husband that was abusive. I love how she just, and it probably wasn't that easy. It probably was over time. They made it seem like it was kind of
hmm
instant. But I love how she came out of that and she used her life experience to really pour into her music, which touched a lot of people. So that was very interesting. Her breakdown was interesting.
hmm
And yeah, there's a lot of spiritual lessons that we can take from
Yeah.
that, because I saw a lot of me just in her
hmm
experiences. Because yeah, I know I can get crazy. And
Yes, I will agree.
yeah, I can go dark. There
hmm
are times where I just want to not deal with anyone. I need a lot of space. So there's just a lot of similarities. And but overall, I think it was a well written movie. And and if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, sorry, we're spoiling it for you. But we just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about that.
You
So
know, in you saying that, I think that well, for me, when I go to the movies, I never go to the movies for the entertainment anyway. I'm always looking for a message. I'm looking for, what led me to go to a movies. And one thing that came to me when I left the movies, I was sitting in the car, and one thing that I heard so clearly was to stay in the in between until the process is over. And for me, that meant stay where you're at, don't fight where you're at, don't hide from where you're at, just stay there and go through the process, because there's such a beautiful other side. And that really made me kind of really just sit and kind of sit in that all day long. And so, you know, in sitting in that, then some other things came to me, where they talk about be selfish. You call people selfish. And for me, I tell my clients selfish is self care and self love. And so for me, the other thing that came to me was that the more I'm selfish, the more I trust in who I truly am. And in trusting that I can stay in the in between and allow myself to evolve and allow myself to be okay in the place I'm at. Most of the time we don't want to be there and we fight being there. And I found myself today just sitting with it and being okay with it.
Yeah, I think the programming has been, if you're experiencing something that's uncomfortable or something that you feel isn't right, putting a label on it, you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to detach from it or run from it or pack it away or ignore it or suppress it. And I think that's the narrative that's been taught. And I think now it's about, no, be okay with what you're feeling and
Mm-hmm.
go through it and be okay with it. Just accept it.
Right.
And for some people that's difficult. For some
Mm-hmm.
people that's hard to embrace the pain for what it is. It's like they have to, I think in Aretha's case, she turned to drinking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of us turn to different vices as a form of
Right.
running away versus let me bear it, because it could be that in bearing it, you get rid of it quicker, or you evolve through it quicker, or grow through it quicker, or heal through it quicker. But I think we've been trained to do the opposite, which is to pack it away, suppress it, or try to figure out a way to drown it, you know.
You know what? Now that you say that, for me, it wasn't a bearing it. For me, it was an acceptance and allowance.
Especially now, because with the shift that's happening, things are going to come up for
Mm-hmm.
the divine purpose to come out of us.
Right.
And I think in the video yesterday or whenever I did it, it was, we have to throw it up. You know, it's no different
Mm-hmm.
than, you know, if you have diarrhea or whatever, it's to get it out of your system. So it's going to keep surfacing. And I think the universe is like, no, it's time for y'all to start
Mm-hmm.
purging this stuff so
Right.
that you guys can just start, you know, raising your energy or whatever the agenda is. So and I think that in the last couple decades, the majority of humanity did the opposite. We stayed in that denseness as far as running it away or suppressing it or this, that, and the other. And that led to other things. Depression led to physical illness. I was talking to somebody today and they were dealing with some things. And I said, you might be holding on to some things from the past, because I'm starting to understand that a lot of the physical manifestations that we have are often linked to something emotional or mental that we're holding on to. It's like
Right.
we're holding pain hostage within us.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep it around us like a belt. And it's like, no, loosen the belt. Better yet, take the belt off. So um, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I think there's a fear in taking off the belt because we don't know what the unknown is if we take off the belt
Okay.
versus trusting who we are. And the only way we can trust who we are is do the work and do the process and, start accepting who we are, like with the affirmations that you have. You know, we've got to start somewhere. And I think that a lot of people are afraid to start because they don't know what they're going to find. And what I have found in the work that I've been doing, especially lately, is that if I stay in right now and something comes up and I acknowledge it, I feel it, but then after feeling it, I remind myself of who I am right now and I'm okay right now. And so I don't allow myself to kind of go down that rabbit hole
Okay.
and stay down there. Because as you stay down there, that's where the depression comes. That's where the need to run comes from. And so, you know, acknowledging it, feeling that emotion, but not to stay there.
And
I
I
think
think
it's critical for not to stay there.
a lot of people are just scared, like
Mm-hmm.
like you said, scared of the unknown, or they feel that they don't have. I feel like I talk to so many people, and like when I give them a compliment, they're like surprised. They're like,
Yes.
what's like, it's almost as if it can go one of two ways. They're either super surprised, or on the other hand, they needed to hear that to feel better. Like they need to hear that
Mm-hmm.
from someone else, because there's not enough strength within themselves to say it for their own selves to trigger that feeling of well-being, that things are going to be okay. And I mean, I did it the other day. I was like, hey, you're great, this, that, and they're just looking at me like, what are you seeing? Like, it's like they're just blown away. And so when they're dealing with their own mess, their own whatever you want to call it, there is a fear there that comes over, and it's so overpowering, they fall back to the default, which is to cover it up, drown it, suppress it, or run from it. Anything but to be okay with it. And like you said, accept it and allow the process to do what it needs to do. And I think that's where the opportunity is in helping people recognize how great they are.
Yeah.
People just don't get the love anymore. They don't get the love, the compliments, none of that.
I think that goes back to me when I was talking about selfish. Selfish is self love, self care. It's one thing for someone else to compliment you. However, until you start complimenting yourself,
Hmm.
that's the self worth, you know. Um, in saying the affirmations that you're teaching on, we have to start saying these things to ourselves. And when you start, you're not going to believe it. Okay. They're just words in the beginning. But the more and more you do it, the more and more the an authentic self of yourself starts raising up. And then you start, oh, yeah, I am great. I am these things, and we had talked about, I wanted to do a series on back to the basics. And I believe that when I say back to the basis, I don't mean back to the basis that we've been taught, back to the basis of just getting up in the morning, and after you've done your affirmations and your meditations, and, you know, look in the mirror and say to yourself, good morning, you're beautiful, I love you. Saying those things to you,
Hmm.
so that it comes a time where if someone compliments me, it's a bonus, but I don't need that to be whole and be complete, because I've done that for myself.
Correct. And there's just not enough of it. It's not enough.
Right.
It's kind of like, and it goes back to our schooling, even with our kids. You have to do
Mm-hmm.
something in order to
Right.
get any type of acknowledgement. Like if you did your
Mm-hmm.
homework, you get the smiley face. Um, it's like you have to do something. It's just not enough to exist. And hey, you're good and covered by grace alone just because of that. You're great just
Mm-hmm.
because you're here. And so what we do is as we go through this process from childhood up, it's like, oh wow, it's like I have to do something in order to be recognized, you know.
Right.
And I think we've got that all backwards. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's no teaching of, I like the word you use, there's no teaching of self-worth. And what does that really
Right.
mean? Or self-love, or what does that really mean? It's always about giving more of yourself. It's always about depleting
Mm-hmm.
yourself. It's always about you making a sacrifice for someone else. There are all these different things where you're the one that is the sacrificial lamb, and yet you feel empty and hollow within.
Right. One thing I tell my clients all the time is fill your cup up and let it overflow.
Mm-hmm.
The overflow is for everybody else, but what's in that cup is yours.
Yep.
And so, if you continue to fill up that cup with affirmations, with looking at yourself and telling yourself how great and beautiful you are, hugging yourself, loving on yourself, self care. One of the things me going to the movies was self love for myself. I was off today. I love music, movies. And so, I did that for me, not for somebody else, for me. And so, again, getting back to the basics and teaching people, you got to start with self. And if someone calls you selfish because you're doing something for you, people should remember really what selfish means. If someone calls you selfish, what they're doing is they're making you feel bad. So if I call you selfish, then you're going to feel bad and you're going to do what I want you to do.
Yes, a form of control.
And yeah, and for me, I'm going to be selfish and I'm going to go to the movies or I'm going to go, this week I'm on the Berea Fair, you know. But just for me, because that's what I want to do. That makes me happy. I'm at peace. I'm in joy because I'm with me and I'm okay being with me. How many people are not even comfortable being with them own self, being with their own self, spending time just with you, acknowledging it's okay for me to be totally by myself and enjoy my own company. How many people enjoy just being with their own self?
I
And
think
so
that's
I
the
just think we have to teach that.
I think that's the other trap, because you grow
Hmm.
up with this process of looking for outer validation, and many
Hmm.
people transfer it into their relationship.
Hmm.
So I get in a relationship with you, and the expectation is you're supposed to validate and make me whole. And this
Right.
whole relationship thing to me is all screwed up, because a lot of the times you have these relationships where both individuals are, they're whole, but they haven't risen to the recognition of their wholeness. So they're operating in a quarter of it, and then you put a quarter and a quarter together, and all it does is clash. And then
Right.
you start, I was talking to someone just today about that, as to, they were suggesting something changed in their relationship, and now they're looking at them. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Your relationship was put together without that. That wasn't the foundation. I said, now what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a competition role where, hey, they're not doing A, B, C, D, and E. And because they're not doing A, B, C, D, and E, I don't feel right. And now you're going down an entirely different rabbit hole. and you're not going
Right.
back to self, because self is the most important relationship, but people don't focus on that. They want to focus
Right.
on the boo or focus on the bay and look for them to bring all of everything to the deal. And that normally is a recipe for disaster. It's a
Right.
recipe for just ongoing turmoil. So it's just interesting how we as human species, we deflect to other people, other situations. We blame other people, other
Mhm.
situations, and we have a hard time just looking in a mirror and saying, "Okay, let's get to let's get to know what's going on with self."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a thing where you take responsibility that for everything that comes to you.
yep,
Why is this here? As far as relationship, I've always said, there is no 50-50. You bring your half and I bring my half, and that makes us whole. No, you should be whole,
yep,
period.
yep,
And if you find a relationship where there's a growth involved and there's a mutual understanding involved, is great, but that's a bonus. That should not make you who you are, because it doesn't.
right,
And so you got an expectation on this person that they should do this, and this, and this, and this. And, I remember, and actually in Sunday school, I remember our teacher saying, there's about three of us that comes to the table. So if I bring my three and you bring your three, we got six whole different people in this relationship. And then you got all these expectations on the other person, but none on yourself. So, this week I posted, I love flowers. I love flowers. I love the way they make me feel. I like the way they look. And so I went to Trader Joe's and got flowers. I didn't put that on somebody else. Well, why didn't you bring me flowers? I go get my own flowers.
right.
Now, somebody gives me flowers, that's a bonus. But I don't need anybody to make me whole of who I am, because we got all these thoughts going on in our head. And how is someone else supposed to understand it when most of the time we don't even understand it?
No, and that to me is like it's the biggest issue is the self. And
Yeah.
you got 8 billion people on the planet, 8 billion different realities, 8 billion different variations, and all of them are uniquely different, uniquely put together. And then
Mhm.
everyone is trying to interact, and it all goes back to self. I just
Yeah.
know for me in my journey, when I started to just say, okay, Ace, is on you, things, something
Mhm.
shifted. And I'm not going to say it made my journey easier, because it did. I still have my share of issues, but the way I respond is just totally different.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people are missing it. It's always the outer game. I feel there's two worlds you got to master: the outer and the inner. Everybody's trying to master the outer, but they have no understanding or comprehension of what's going on with the inner. And that's where the magic is. And as long as we focus on the outer, the inner is always going to be screwed up, which is going to make your outer be what it is. Um, Nothing but chaos. Um, it's like every day is, I feel like every day is uniquely put together based on your
Mhm.
perception of it and how you go
Right.
at it. And if we could just become more intentional, more commanding, more affirming what we're choosing to experience, I think a lot of things, and it doesn't take a whole lot to shift. When you start affirming some things, the universe, just by listening to you genuinely speak these things out about yourself, will show you evidence. They will show
Right.
you some little things here and there, and you're like, oh wow, that came together, that connected. Oh, this person that. And all of that is just more data coming in, just reaffirming really the magic and the greatness that you have in you for you to continue to do it more. It's just getting people to take that first step.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is, because I can, in my head, I can hear, well, where am I supposed to start? And just affirming that, I love me. And I'm going to, I always talk about being in the stillness, just being, not doing anything, but just acknowledging and allowing that inner voice to speak to you. And, the voice is not going to be way out here,
Mm-hmm.
hello, and that I'm talking to you. It's going to be my voice in me. Um, and just, hey, I love you, you know. And, a lot of people get caught up in, what they didn't get from their parents, or that need for nobody loved me. Okay, I get that, but I also get that now is an opportunity where you can love you, because maybe you didn't get love from someone else. So you're going to keep holding on to that, or punishing that person. That person could be in the grave, and you still, well, if he would have loved me or she would have loved me. No, what about you loving you, period? Just because.
Yeah, I think everybody has that story. I know my story was that I came over here in a raft and I was born on the church steps and left and abandoned. And, you know,
Right.
everybody has that story that they've made up of being the victim or being abandoned or not being loved or cared about or this, that, and the other. And yeah, we have to get away from that and we have to just start acknowledging that, you know what, I'm here, I'm in this moment.
Hmm.
And if you really look at everything, everything is worked out. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding and accepting that. But just the fact that you're here right now signifies that, hey, you can make a change right now that'll alter your reality moving forward. Like one
Yeah.
decision. And then just that one decision built on another decision, built on another decision can just change the course that you're on.
And
So,
I can hear people in my head saying, well, yeah, but you don't know my story.
right.
We hold on to the stories. Energetically, the more we keep speaking the negative, we're attracting that energy to us. And we really need to understand that we are energy and everything is energy. So if you want something different, you've got to change your energy. And so you've got to change your self talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these happen. We're not, minimizing what happened to you. No. However, how long are you going to stay in that story?
Right.
If you want something different, you've got to do something different. What's the and what's it when they say if you keep doing the same thing you get the same results?
Definition of insanity.
Insanity.
Yep.
Yeah. And how many of us are dealing with insanity because we tell the story over again, but say a person is 40 and whatever happened to them they were 10. I'm wondering if the original story is even the same anymore. Over the years, you've added more to it and more
Yep.
to it. So that story, you don't even know what the origination of the story is anymore because it's so many things that's got added to it. And the story is not going to change until you change it. And you
And
have got to speak something new.
it's a comfortable illusion to cradle to and repeat, and like you said, build on, give it strength. You're literally
Mhm.
watering it. You're
Right.
That's what you're paying, giving your attention to, and that's the universe hears it. I try to tell
Yeah.
people, look, the universe isn't biased. All it is like,
Mhm.
okay, it's just going to reflect back to you where you're putting your attention and your energy. So if it's on
Right.
this illusionary story of you being a victim, okay, well, let's give them some more examples of that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's that, because we're here as creators, and I've been so mindful of that lately. Sometimes I have to catch myself because our words are casting a spell.
Mhm.
And when we really, really understand the magnification of that, we would choose what we say a little bit better. It's like, is this really what we want to focus on?
Right.
So,
Right. And so it's not, people, oh, what am I supposed to lie to myself? No, that's not what we're saying. You know, this is how you feel, acknowledge it. However, I want something different, so I have to speak something different. You
and see,
know,
the acknowledging thing is okay. I'll give you an example. A couple mornings ago, I woke up, I felt like complete crap. I felt like complete shit. I
mhm,
acknowledge that. So, yes, that is my truth. However, I
mhm,
also have a context or point of reference of feeling better than that. So,
right,
I'm going to start speaking
mhm,
to that so that I can raise my vibration.
right,
I mean, I was jogging about a week and a half ago and a cramp took place. And I literally spoke to
mhm,
my body. Oh, we don't do this. This is not what we're looking to do. I'm literally speaking to my body. And I went
right,
right into my affirmation. I am great health. I am great health. The pain didn't disappear completely, but the pain lessened because I decided not to stay in this vibration of, okay, yeah, I recognize this pain, this physical pain that showed up, but I also recognize I have enough power in myself to do something about it and not
right,
stay there. So let me speak to what I'm choosing to bring in my experience versus accepting what is.
yeah,
And we've got to take more of that personal power that we already have within us and exhibit it more for ourselves. For
right,
ourselves.
right,
Yeah, it's like when something goes wrong with us, we feel like we have to wait on someone else, or we feel we have to wait on God or the deity or whatever. And we don't understand that the power actually lies within us, and we need to start operating and exercising in it.
right. Because if you're constantly speaking negative, if do you think, you're going to get something different? No,
No, you're not. You're going to
you
get the
know.
same thing.
And it's interesting, I had the Reiki class last weekend, and it was so phenomenal to watch these ladies go through the transformation that they went to because they got it. They didn't take the Reiki Master certification program to like go out and now I can heal people, and they didn't take it for that. They took the class for themselves. They understood the importance of mastering their own self. And to watch the transformation was so phenomenal because it was all about them. Everything they left outside the door, when they walked into the room, it was like, okay, let's do this. Let me welcome me. Let me look at my authentic self. Let me be okay with this power of who I am. And every step of the way and through the process, we went deeper and deeper. And through every single twist and turn and everything, they kept coming out on the opposite side of it, because it was like, no, I'm doing this for me. I'm mastering me. I'm working with me. I'm acknowledging the power and the greatness that I am, because it's me. And it's okay, to say that. Most people, oh, you being arrogant. Okay, you just don't understand the energy. And we know that. Well, we don't let you have that. But that has nothing to do with me. And
Yeah,
so just the power that we have to acknowledge the greatness and the awesomeness and the uniqueness that we are, and just flow in that. And as you're doing that, the energy, the transformation is just so phenomenal. So, let's move into who we are. And the more we do that, the more we become who we really are.
right. And again, I
So,
think the biggest trick, and we're going to close this out because I know you got to start tomorrow and I got things to do. So I think the biggest, and I don't want to say it's a trick. However, I will say that the biggest hurdle that the human species has been facing is just being or feeling that they have to be dependent on someone else or something else for their life to blossom or
mhm,
to take off or whatever it is. We come into this world and yes, we are dependent on somebody changing our pampers and breastfeeding us or whatever that is, and teaching us in school. And I understand all that. And that has just continued into the work world where you're programmed to go work for someone else. And there's nothing wrong with the job. I'm not knocking jobs, but we have given away so much of our power, and we're waiting for someone else to tell us what to do, when to do it, where to do it. We're not great unless somebody else tells us, and we've got to reverse engineer that, where people understand completely that the power is within self. And if we can light
yeah,
that, I think there are two things. I think self love is paramount, because if you
mhm,
can put that piece together, it opens you up for awareness, just continuously asking questions, ask a ton of questions, because I feel that questions put you in a situation where you can gauge your alignment, because everything is relationship, your relationship
mhm,
to this person, to this situation, to this business, to this career move, to the car, everything that you interact with, you have a relation to. And I think understanding that alignment for what it is just helps. It helps keep you together. It helps really it allows you to just really narrow in to understand what's really going on. And I think a lot of people just living these lives of confusion, chaotic. You keep having the same relationships. Well, why do you think that's happening? You know, um, you keep running around in this circle of doing the same thing. Well, the same thing is going to show up. You know, so we're gonna have to spend some more time on this, lady.
okay.
Are you
Well, I want
sleepy?
to add to you. No, I've
Okay.
got work to do when I get off of here. But I think once you do the self love, self care goes along with that. And then the other thing that goes along with it, and I think for me, it brings a balance in life is play. You got
When you
to
say
start
play,
playing.
oh, you're talking about enjoying yourself.
Yes, yes, yes. You've got to play. You can't keep the seriousness all the time. You have got to play. I'm big on that. I love going to the swings and going down the sliding board and you know so we've
The
got
Tootsie Roll,
self-love. My
the
Tootsie
Tootsie
Pops.
Roll.
I love my Tootsie Pops. I like the chocolate one. And so, in self-love, I need to play. I need to be a kid again. I'm looking for some jacks, because I used to love playing jacks. The other day, one of the kids had put hopscotch out on the street, on the sidewalk. I was doing hopscotch.
You was not
We
hopscotch.
Oh yes, I can play some hopscotch. I'll take you on any day. But
I
we've
forgot how
got
we
to
played that.
play. We've got to play. We've got to love. We've got to take care of ourselves and the internal take care of self. Not getting your nails done, not getting your hair done. That's one thing, but I'm talking about that internal care. We've got to do a better job of self love, self care. We got to play. So I
Uh,
challenge you to do those three things on the week coming up.
all right, lady. Well, we are gonna shut this down. Annette, thank you for the late night talk. This is
Mhm.
pretty
You're
cool. I know
welcome.
we just jumped in it tonight, so we'll but I'm deaf. This was really, really, really cool. So I want to thank Haps for not cutting out. You guys are getting better on the platform, so thank you for that. But Annette, we will catch up soon, lady. Have a good
Okay.
night, and all
You
of you out
too.
there, have a good evening. I guess it's one something in the morning, so have a good night, and we
114.
will talk soon. Okay. All right, lady.
All
We'll
right.
talk. We'll catch up later.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.